Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight. With us, we've got Hannah from the DealMachine team. We've got Elise who's joining, and then we've got Vaughn Bethell coming. He's here too, actually, who closed 16 deals from DealMachine last year. Is that right?
I actually recalculated, and I ended up closing 21 from DealMachine.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you recalculated. That's amazing.
Well, I didn't calculate the first in the first tally the ones that we actually closed on and took down as rentals.
Okay, yeah, you definitely got to count those.
Yeah. So I was just looking at wholesale deals.
For sure. So for those of you who are joining, why don't you let us know where you're calling in from in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from and then how many deals you guys have done so far. All right, we got Washington State, 0, Michigan, Spanish, something, a lot of new 0 deals. Toronto, Canada, that's cool. Florida, San Antonio, Pennsylvania, Grand Rapids, Greenville, Mobile, Alabama, Dallas, Virginia Beach, Austin, Texas. That's good. You draw a good crowd, Vaughn. We got about 250 people here.
That's awesome.
Well, how did you get started? Give us the backstory.
Well, I tell you what, man, it's kind of unique because I used to be in the fitness business. I owned a sports performance company for about 11 years, and it actually burned me out, man. And I don't know how much you know about the fitness business, but when you run a fitness business, the last thing you think about is doing fitness yourself. When you're in the gym at 4:45 every morning, you're not getting home until about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. You're working on the weekends from 5:30 in the morning, getting home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It just, after about 15 years of doing that, kind of burns you out. And, basically it was 2016 that I got out of the fitness industry. And I'll tell you what, that's almost 5 years and I haven't missed a day of it. And I'm a fitness guy, but just the business itself, I mean, this business is a passion. I love it. It's a lot more lucrative and it's a lot more time freedom. And when I'm trying to focus on my kids and my family, the fitness business is not the business you want to be in.
Gotcha. And why is that? Are you taking clients in the evening times, or how is it different within real estate?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, in the fitness business, people like to work out before work. They like to work out after work. They like to work out at lunch. So
everyone's break time is your work time.
Exactly. So you're on their schedule with whether you're doing, group classes or you're doing one-on-one training or whatever it may be. You got to work around other people's schedule. So in this business, and I was very strategic in setting it up to where everything runs around my schedule. So that in itself, time is money, right? So being able to have the freedom to take my kids to school every morning, to be home when they get home, when my daughter gets off the bus, to pick my son up from school, and then be at all the soccer games and music recitals that my kids have whenever I want to be is just a huge change. So the 5 years that I've been out of the fitness industry, I haven't missed the fitness industry at all.
Got it. Well, I'm so glad you're able to spend more time with your kids and take them to their recitals. How many kids do you have?
I got 2. I got a 9-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter.
Got it. Very cool. And I'm sure that the whole family really appreciates this career shift. So that was in 2016, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then what was the first thing that you did to switch over? Did you just go cold turkey?
Well, I tell you what, man, after I got out of my business, I actually did coaching for other fitness business owners and actually started a mastermind program for my business coaches that I had for about 8 years. So I took that mastermind program, I grew it to 4 mastermind groups. And basically from there, I was doing one-on-one coaching. I was doing, in-person meetings, live meetings with each one of my groups every quarter. But I tell you what, man, it's just, for some reason, I was just burnt out of fitness. And even though I can help coach people, my business was very successful over the 11 years that I had it. Something just wasn't sitting right. And, you got to have that passion to keep going, especially if you're going beyond that 40-hour work week, right?
Yeah.
So I just had about 6 months into that, 6 to 9 months into that, I just faded out. And kind of turned it over to somebody else. And for the next 6 months, really didn't know what I wanted to do. And one of my wife's really good friends, she's been in the real estate investing industry for about 20 years. And she would always come over and talk about this flip that she was doing and, these rentals that she had. And she has a pretty substantial rental portfolio. I think she's well over 40 units right now, or 40 doors. But that just kind of intrigued me. So I went on one of her flips with her. And a little bit more of a backstory. My dad owns a construction business. He's been in construction since I've been born. So when you talk about remodeling, rehabs, and things such as that, he's been doing that for 40 years. But back in the day, when I was a teenager, if I wanted to make a little bit of extra money, my dad was always like, well, you need to come on one of my jobs and do some manual labor. So that quickly turned me off. But now it's a totally different story, because now it's a passion and I love it. So it's kind of come full circle. But back to my wife's friend, she kind of took me under her wing. And not long after that, we partnered and formed this company back in 2018.
Okay. So your dad had the construction company. That's got to have come in handy. You probably didn't know how much stuff costs though, right? Like you kind of had to figure that out once you decided to go the investment, right? There's a difference between hitting a hammer versus estimating right. So even though, I see some people saying, oh, lucky you, your dad was in construction. And that is lucky. But also, I mean, the hardest part that everyone struggles with is not the hammering. It's actually, estimating, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, everybody's saying, lucky you, your dad was in construction. I still to this day can tell you anything about his business. Right. My dad's in Florida. I'm in South Carolina. I've been in South Carolina since '98, and my dad's still in Florida. He's been there, the whole time. So with that being said, I really don't know much about the cost of materials and what all he does. I know he does a lot of remodeling and renovations for flippers and, just general remodeling for homeowners. But I will tell you, in that time that I was kind of trying to get into the real estate industry, I did do sales for a high-end remodeling company here in Greenville. So I got a real good taste of the, I guess you could say, remodeling industry, not construction industry, but remodeling for high end and what sales is like. So I had to do in-home sales, sitting at the dinner table with 3 to 4 families a day for about an hour and a half, trying to convince them to let us do their sunroom or do their deck or put a new roof on their house. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's a lot different ball game than rehab expenses versus retail expenses. They're about 3 times as much. So I do have a little bit of background there, but as far as construction, I mean, even to this day, I still don't have a ton of background in construction.
So where did you get your leads for your first deal? How'd you get that one?
I'll tell you what, our first deal came from DealMachine. So like I mentioned.
Was that back in 2018?
That was in 2018. We locked it up. We sent a postcard out. And I think we started using DealMachine in October of 2018. So me and my partner and another partner of ours, we started this company in August of 2018. And we spent about 3 or 4 months not knowing what the heck we were doing. And I was like, oh, this DealMachine thing seems pretty cool. I can go take pictures and I can send a postcard right from my phone. So I convinced them to let us do that. And we went driving around for a while and we found a couple houses and we got our first phone call. And I tell you what, just getting into the industry, the house that was on the postcard that we sent the card to, I looked it up in the computer and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this? Where it turns out they weren't just calling about that property. They owned the 2 properties next to it. And they were all abandoned, vacant, had been so for about 10 years. We ended up getting them all under contract for 30 grand and ended up assigning them for 60 grand. So wow. We made 30 grand on our first deal.
Wow, that's you doubled what you paid for it. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it took us from the time we sent out our first postcard to the time we closed that deal was about 4 months.
So did you feel weird giving an offer at $30,000?
Dude, I tell you what. Yeah, when you first start, one of the biggest things that, I see everybody deal with is coming in and making a low offer, right? Because you're coming from that perspective of, I wouldn't take that. So, and then I heard somebody say that if you don't cringe at your offer, it's probably not low enough. So I just had to take that in mind and, make that low offer. And I think our first offer was like 20,000.
Okay.
So we worked it up to 30, knowing that we still had a lot of space. And it just ended up being a great deal.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's a killer deal. And I've never, you don't see wholesale fees that are the same price as the property oftentimes. So that was pretty awesome that you guys did that. And I do agree with you that you need to feel weird about your offer, because things are going to come up that cost way more than you would anticipate, especially if you haven't estimated yet. So you should definitely feel awkward because the price is pretty low.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you that property, I wouldn't even know where to begin as far as estimating repairs and things such as that. So I just kind of threw a number out there, like, everything I was listening to podcasts and YouTube University and everything like that, is just throw a low offer out there that, if they accept it, it's going to be a good deal.
Yeah. Okay. So first deal back in 2018, and now you said that you have a couple of drivers, right? So you're not the one driving around anymore.
I'm not. So I have a driver that's been with me since 2019. So he's actually a really good friend of mine, and our wives are friends, and we have our guys group and they have their girls group. And he's a vet. So he was kind of semi-retired at the time when he started, and he literally just looking for something to do. And so he actually came on, and I taught him how to drive. I actually taught him acquisitions and things such as that. And he just really took to the driving piece of it. So he's been driving for us for almost 2 years.
Got it. And when did you, how many deals did you do before you decided it was worth paying a driver?
I think we did, when he came on, we had only done 3 or 4 deals.
Okay.
But, me coming from a business background, one of the first things I knew was that I had to build systems and processes, and I had to work myself out of a job. So, being that we made a good little pop in our first deal, we were able to start putting systems and a little team together. So we knew, once you bring people on, we can scale pretty quick.
Got it. I love it. That's such an awesome story. Have you actually been able to stay true to that time frame of, reserving your lunches, your mornings, your evenings with your family, or do you find that sometimes you still get really dedicated to work and cut into family time?
Well, I tell you what, man, you really have to be intentional when you're an entrepreneur and you're just grinding and you don't know nothing but to grind, and it's going through your head, 24/7, 365. What can I do to grow, or what? Where's my next deal, or what do I do to provide for my family? So you're always thinking, and you have to be intentional about setting that time aside. So for me, I know I don't start work in the morning until after I drop my kids off. And fortunately enough, my kids' school are pretty close to my office. It's 4 minutes from my office to my daughter's middle school.
Got it.
So I'm averaging getting started about 8 o'clock. Now, my team, they know that I'm usually trying to get out of here about 3 o'clock. My daughter gets off the bus at 3:30. My son has soccer practice starting at 5 o'clock. I got to pick him up from school, take him to soccer practice. So they know that I'm trying to, get out of here by 3 o'clock. And
Okay,
even my schedule is blocked off at those times.
It's important. I found that it's important to have those planned hours.
Oh yeah.
So my business partner, he has a wife and a child, and I'm single. I have a girlfriend, but kind of behind him in terms of that. But he's been a huge proponent of hey, 5 o'clock, I'm done working. Don't text me about work. Don't send me any emails about work. So I've gotten chastised a lot, but I think he's right. And I'm really happy that he had that maturity before I did, because you kind of need that break after a while. I mean, grinding forever just kind of gets, it seems like it's pretty required at the beginning, but I think if you plan, you can go farther.
Well, absolutely. Everybody's different too. When you're in different phases of your life, I've been married for 15 years, 2 beautiful kids, and I've had businesses before, and I've done the 24/7, 365, right?
Yeah.
And if I was still single, I'll probably be grinding, and then I think it'll be a little bit different if I was still single. I'll probably go for 1 or 2 months hard, and then take a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
So for me, it's now I have things that I'm forced to be intentional about. So I want to be there to take my kids to school in the morning. I want to be there for dinners at night. I want to have date night with my wife every week. I want to, be there for my kids' games and recitals and things such as that.
Right.
But, once those things are done, there's still times occasionally where, hey, I got something in my head, after the kids go to bed, I got to go knock out some work for 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even an hour.
Yeah.
But, just blocking those other times off, it's all about being intentional.
Well, for those of you that have questions for Vaughn, I want you to ask them in the chat, and we're actually going to bring you on to answer that question on Zoom. So we're going to aim to get 10 people on here tonight. So ask your questions. We're going to bring you on, turn on your video, and actually join us in the conversation. And we'll get that part of the webinar rolling. And also, I wanted you guys to meet Elise. I know we said hi to Hannah at the beginning, and she's going to be helping you guys get on. But Elise is from the DealMachine team, and she's answering a lot of your questions in the chat. So hello, Elise. Welcome to the
Hello,
webinar.
everyone. Hi, Vaughn. Thanks so much for being on here with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And a big shout out to Jeremy, who told me my mic looked like it was swallowing me, so I moved it back. So thank you.
Oh, funny. All right, Hannah, I just made you the co-host, so you can bring some people on now. What's like the most common question you get asked, Vaughn?
Oh.
You mean you're a teacher? You taught all these fitness owners, right? You had a mastermind for fitness owners.
I did. It's I tell you what, man, the fitness business is totally different than this. As far as the work and the moving pieces, right? But business is business, and systems and processes, and the biggest thing that I hear all the time is consistency, right? How do you stay consistent? And that really comes down to just time management. And I'm not a very organized person. I'm a visionary. And to get out of that visionary role and get down to more detail oriented and time management type things, it takes a stretch, right? But you just got to be intentional about doing it. You got to be consistent, and that's the biggest thing you can do in this industry, in any industry, is be consistent.
Lacedria, come back. Are you there? I saw your video for a second, but you're just muted now. I can see you.
She almost got on there.
Hi. Oh no, I still can't hear. Hannah, what was your question? Can you ask it for her?
Yeah, she actually had a ton of questions. So I'm going to start at the very first one that I saw. She's laughing because she does. I love it. Her first one was, what tips and tricks should someone who is just starting out, what would they need to know?
Well, it's a grind. And I tell all my guys that come on is, commit to at least 3 months and don't expect anything for 3 months. This is a business that it takes a little minute to build a funnel. But once you get that first deal, it starts, snowballing. As long as you're doing the work, right? So, a lot of people come in here and they see everybody else, posting checks and things such as that. But like I said, it took us 4 months to get our first deal, to close on our first deal. So just keep grinding. And if you grind and you do just consistent effort every single day, those leads are going to add up, and then the fortune's in the follow-up. So don't forget the follow-up.
Awesome. One other question she had was, what was your initial goal and how many deals do you do on average now?
Ooh, initial goal, I don't even know if I had one. When I first started in this, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what was realistic. So, I was just grinding. And like I said, it took us 4 months to do our first deal. But after that, I think it's in our first year, we did 19 deals. So we were pretty successful. Now I will tell you, those 19 deals, we averaged about $7,500 an assignment fee. Last year, we averaged about $15,000 in assignment fee. So things change, you get more efficient, you learn how to negotiate better. Right now, on average, we're doing probably about 8 to 10 contracts a month, closing on about 5 or 6. But our business has changed significantly since I started it. So right now, we're not doing primarily wholesaling. Most of what we're doing is we're finding properties that we can take down ourselves, and we're fixing them up and providing the dream of homeownership through owner financing. So it's a totally different model.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the acquisitions part's the same.
Mm-hmm.
The acquisition part doesn't change.
Yeah. And then her very last question that I saw, she might have more, but this is the last one I saw, was how long have you been part of DealMachine or using DealMachine?
Been using DealMachine since 2018. I can't remember what month. I think it was September or October. But been using it ever since. I think right now we have 35,000 properties in DealMachine. So it works. It's my favorite app.
Can you hear me now?
We can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. I got excited. Okay, cool. So real quick. So with your first deal, right?
Yep.
When you were making these phone calls, how many phone calls did you feel you needed to make to like your LOAs? What did those look like for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we didn't do a lot at the beginning. And I say we didn't do a lot. I just compare that to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Really, we didn't have $1. We didn't have anything. We're just, sending out postcards through DealMachine. It took us a while to learn how to skip trace or what skip tracing was to find people's numbers. So, if we could find a number, we'll just hand dial them. But really, it just came from the postcards and people calling in off of that. So we just got real strategic about going out, finding properties, taking a picture and sending out postcards and getting them on the campaign to where they were going out every month and just relying on those phone calls to come in. That was our only lead generation source at the time.
So you didn't really initiate those phone calls. They were pretty much coming to you outside of the market you were doing.
Exactly. And I will tell you now, it's completely different. Back then we were reactive, meaning waiting for the calls to come in. Now we're proactive. So, all the properties that we add to DealMachine, as soon as we come in on Monday morning, they get skip traced, added to our dialer, added to our text message platform. And we send out postcards only to our hot zips.
So let me ask you, because of that new system that you have and the way you started, what is the typical, what's the average amount of calls now that you feel that you need to maintain your LOAs and close, get a deal?
Well, I was actually meeting with my acquisitions manager and one of my acquisition specialists this week. And right now our target is 2,500 dials, and we're getting about 10% or 1% of those are leads. So if we're making 2,500 calls a week, we're getting about on average 25 leads. And I would say about 20% of those are ended up being hot leads. And out of those 25%, 20 to 25%, a good bit of those, we're probably about 50% right now that are getting contracts.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things behind that. It's not that easy. I tell you, there's a lot of things behind that. We've gotten really good at creative financing and making multiple offers on the same property. So our conversion rates are getting a lot higher than they used to be when we were just doing cash offers.
Are you able to dive into that a little bit about creative financing or no?
Well, we just keep it simple. When we make an offer on a property, we make a cash offer and 2 seller finance offers. And the biggest thing is, if they want a certain price, if they're willing to give us terms, we can meet their price.
Sounds good.
There's a lot more to it, but that's the simplest answer.
Yeah.
If you make,
I can figure it out, but
yeah, if you're
Would you
just
recommend
cash
wholesaling
offers,
something first?
Yeah.
Would you recommend wholesaling something first, or would you recommend figuring out the owner financing first?
Absolutely, wholesaling first.
Okay.
Wholesaling first. We did wholesaling for our first almost 2 years, and to wholesale is generating capital, right? So you have to generate capital to move on to the next stages for the most part, unless you just have a lot of money sitting around or you already got a bunch of private lenders sitting around. So we spent about 2 years generating capital, and even if you get people to seller finance, you still have to have capital, even if it's zero money down, right? 0% interest, and you already have a tenant in there. What if something goes wrong? You have to go replace a roof.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for answering those questions for me. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if I took up anybody else's time. Thank you,
That's
Hannah,
great questions.
as well, or asking those questions for me as well. So thank you, guys.
Of course. Thank you so much. And it looks like next we've got somebody coming on, Josh Jameson. Josh, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome. Wow, it's light where you're at. Must be in California.
Oh no, I'm in Washington.
Ooh,
Maybe
better.
So yeah, we're on the West Coast. So thank you guys all for doing this. Vaughn, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So two main questions I have. So my situation is started driving for dollars in Colorado with my mom in April, kind of took a break, personal reasons. Now I followed is it Brent Daniels on TTP, and he's a huge endorser of DealMachine. And so actually going to my first question is a recommendation on hiring a coach or a consultant. What's your viewpoint on that? Strongly considering joining his coaching program.
So I've joined TTP. It's great, especially if you're going to be proactive and do cold calling. It really, I train all my callers, all my acquisitions managers up on a TTP program. It's just the quickest and easiest way to get people on the phone. You should be on, my guys are on the phone, even from the time I hire them, they're on the phone on day 2. So It's quick and easy. I look at coaching and because I was a coach and I did run mastermind programs. It's buying speed, right? And I think it blows my mind that we're investors.
Right. Okay.
Whether we're wholesaling, selling, fixing, flipping, buying holes or whatever, we're investors, right? But people are hesitant to invest in themselves or invest in their business.
Right.
And the best thing you can do is hire a coach, get part of a mentorship program, join a mastermind, because you're buying speed.
Right.
Even if that mastermind costs 30 grand, and I don't recommend going out and joining a 30 grand mastermind on day 1, but that 30 grand should bring you, 10 times return. And it does in this industry. So TTP, definitely highly recommend it. So that's my thought on coaching programs. And it's the systems, the tools, and the coaching. So the tools is the number one thing, right? The time it will take you to create those tools, you'll be 5 years from now by the time you got all the tools created. You might figure it out on your own, but why? But why?
Right.
Yeah. Skip that.
So, and then awesome. So that's perfect. So we got about 500 on our call list right now. So what I have situation right now is myself as a caller, and I have my mom and my cousin. Mom's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My cousin is here in Washington. Both of them prepared to be full-time drivers. So my brother is a very successful real estate investor. We're experiencing trials in our relationship right now, but so I've seen firsthand. I'm construction background. I've seen him do it, and he's very successful. He wasn't construction background. So my model is to basically retire my mom, right? Is very maybe similar to what you're doing, but I understand it's going to take a period of time. But so I guess how paying drivers and or callers, because I've had a few conversations with people about the possibility of starting calling part-time, and I guess they kind of feel like my offer is ridiculous on, I guess my percentage of what I'm offering, but I see the teamwork and the efficiency, and I'm like, so if I can get, 3 people out of the gate going, it's just gonna, and I have Brent on my phone, then I know I'm going to be able to get there faster. But as far as paying a driver, let's just say first drivers and callers, how did you start that out, and have you tweaked it at all?
So I went real simple, and I think it was recommended through DealMachine as just one of the ways to pay your drivers, and we pay $1 per approved property. So if they add 400 properties in a week, as long as those properties meet our criteria, and I tell you what, David, man, the software keeps getting better and better, and it's making my driver's job very easy.
Yes.
I'm like, man, I'm paying you too much, dude. Your job's so easy. You just did like 400 homes in like 3 hours. What are you doing? But no, it's the way that you can now, just set your filters and set your criteria and have it highlight on on the app for them.
Okay.
So they can go right into a zip code and hit the houses that meet your criteria. Now, our biggest thing is we have those highlights, we have those criteria that we set in the system before they go out. But also that property has to have some sign of distress physically, other than just meeting the highlight criteria.
Okay, makes sense.
So they can't go to just every absentee owner and a certain zip code and just start going down the road and taking pictures. That property has to have some type of distress. But
Okay.
it does, make their job a lot easier when they can see, okay, on this street, there's 15 properties that are absentee owned that are, built before 1990. And,
Yep.
and the biggest thing is the sale date too. It was sold over 3 years ago. So they can go in there and drive up to that property, see if it shows any sign of distress, take a picture and move on. But yeah, we just, right now, I think 5 to 10% of our drivers' properties are getting filtered out because they didn't meet qualifications. So
Okay.
it's pretty good.
And then what about callers?
Callers, man, I had a call team before. I hired callers before, and I went back to just having my acquisitions guys do cold calling. I keep them sharp. Each of them are required to do a certain amount of dials per week. So a lot of people do like 3 hours a day or 15 hours a week or 10 hours a week. As long as we're hitting the dial numbers, we know that the leads should come in based on the percentages of what we typically see. So I just feel that my acquisitions guys are much better on the phone than just a call center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, more my idea is actually coaching somebody through the process, and then, hopefully inspiring them to do the same thing, for themselves would be, what would satisfy me the most. But not everyone has those aspirations. So on a pay scale, are you paying them a percentage of a deal?
Yeah. With my acquisitions guys, they get a percentage of the deal. It's a tiered system. So we start out at 10%. And once we get over a certain dollar amount of gross profit, so once they hit over $40,000 in a month, it goes to 13%. Then if they get over $70,000 in a month, it goes to 15%. And then over $120,000 in a month, it goes to 18%
15,
for the whole thing for that month. And it resets every month.
What was that last number? 70K and then 120?
120.
Okay. Awesome, man. I thank you so much for your guys' time. God bless you all. And yeah, I hope to be doing one of these webinars here soon.
Oh, Josh, we'd love to have you on. Great questions.
Thank you.
So, Vaughn, I heard you were saying you pay your acquisitions people 10 to 18%?
Yep.
And no base?
No base. I give them a ramp up. So their first 3 months, they get $2,000 a month just so they can get started. Because like I said, I mentioned it earlier, I tell everybody, don't expect to get a deal in 3 months. So I would much rather have them have some sense of security. It's not enough to, get rich and go party off of, but it's enough to give them a sense of security where they don't feel like me, if I'm worried about the next, if I'm going to be able to put food on my table, those calls are going to be a lot different.
Totally.
If I have some sense of security and I'm talking to somebody on the phone, it's a totally different ballgame.
Hi, David.
Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great in San Diego. Good to see you all. Thank you for doing the call, Vaughn, especially you for showing up and sharing all the knowledge. Much gratitude for that. I had a couple of questions. I kind of organized in priority. I could just give you one, and if you like it, we can move on to another one, or I guess at least if you want to make that decision. First one, how much are you spending per deal on marketing? Do you track that metric?
I do. I actually had a call with some people in my mastermind. So right now we're averaging at about $1,700 per deal.
Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. And what are you doing for marketing in total? You've alluded to a couple of things.
The three things that we do are our number one right now, up until this point, our only lead source is driving for dollars. So every lead that we have come in, for the most part, unless it's a referral, comes from driving for dollars. And then we're doing cold calling to that list. We're doing text messaging to that list. And then we're sending postcards through DealMachine, just to hot zip codes that we're personally targeting for creative finance deals.
Okay. And then, so what about any details you care to share about your direct mail campaign? I consider DealMachine not to be a marketing system. It's a CRM platform. So then, like, right, it gives you your data, and then what are you doing in terms of your direct mail series?
For us, is exactly it is a marketing system. It's
okay.
It's where we do all of our marketing through it, as far as postcards are concerned.
Okay.
So, and that's where we get our leads.
All right. Elise, how are we doing?
David, have you talked with Elise?
You want another one? Okay.
I will tell you one thing, David. If you
yeah, please
get into the campaign system in DealMachine, and you can set up recurring postcards on a time frame, whether it's every 2 weeks, every month, every 45 days, or whatever. Those are very effective because it's literally set it and forget it, right?
Okay.
Until
okay, very cool. I haven't gotten started with DealMachine, so I'm not familiar with their kind of marketing series, what kind of content or what kind of marketing pieces they have. So I'll dig into that with them.
We're going to do a software demo at the end of the call, actually.
Okay.
The end of the hour.
Cool. And then what are you doing for skip tracing? You alluded to, I know DealMachine has a skip tracing functionality. Do you do anything beyond that?
Well, because we've been using batch leads for text messaging, we export out of DealMachine and put it into batch leads for skip tracing.
Okay, cool. Batch lead.
DealMachine you guys just released a messaging campaign, haven't you? Or a messaging platform?
Yeah, it's called Message Engine, but you can do SMS through DealMachine now as well.
Yeah.
And the skip tracing is within DealMachine too.
And I tell you what, man, there's a lot to be said about trying to keep as much as possible in one place. And you can ask my team, anytime somebody brings up a different software, it has to really, really be freaking awesome.
Otherwise you have like an integration nightmare, right?
Oh yeah, well, not even just integration. If I take it to my team and then I have to train my team on it, I swear if I take something else to them, they might chop me in my throat. Yeah, for sure. Last question, if we have time for it, or not. What's your biggest challenges right now as you grow? As we grow, is just processes, right? And as an entrepreneur, you're just grinding, 24/7, 365, and your brain's running. As a visionary, you got 20 different ideas, and it's narrowing it down to the one or two that are really gonna make a difference, right? So for me, it's just getting that laser-like focus and just focusing on 2 or 3 things, and then getting my team trained up on them so it can really operate without me. Okay, so it's like effectiveness, essentially focusing on the key things, avoiding the shiny objects. We all got shiny object syndrome, especially in this industry. Yep, so sure. being intentional about really looking at that shiny object and say, is it really going to make that much of a difference, or is it really going to be a game changer? And if it's not, set it aside. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all the screen time there.
100%. Thank you, David. And like I said, we're going to jump on to a software demo at the end of the hour. So if you guys have any questions about the actual app, if you haven't signed up yet, definitely stay tuned for that. Hello, Jesse. So speaking of skip tracing, we actually just reduced the price 3 cents across the board. So the prices are 12 and 15 cents, I believe, if you're on one of the monthly plans. And we added a lot of extra data to it as well. So instead of all the numbers in one column, they're separated in columns. And then we also pull the caller ID of the person, of the number we just skip traced. So you can kind of like do a double verification, like, oh, does the caller ID for this number look like what the owner's name is? We also do this like connected, disconnected status as well. So those are things that we recently added in the last week. Jesse, how are you doing?
Hey, good about yourself. Thanks everybody for having this. Vaughn, awesome. You're an amazing guy, and I've been following you. So I've been definitely want to follow your lead.
Where do I know you from? I swear I feel like I know you already.
We're in the group together, 7 figure.
Oh yeah, awesome, man. That's what I thought.
Yep.
You guys are in 7 figure flipping?
That's correct.
Oh, awesome.
And Vaughn's a man. He always brings up DealMachine. So I followed his lead, and here I am, and I'm trying to do it in San Diego as well. So
Thanks, Vaughn. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
yeah. So my question, Vaughn, was so I'm getting started with my team, and it's just how and where do we market to attract bird dogs to join our team? I mean, we're going to be going more on the commission-based side of it instead of an hourly. Any recommendations? I don't know, Craigslist. I mean, or where do you market to have people join your team?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we've been very blessed. I got 2 drivers that I can rely on. They are a husband and wife team. So I really haven't had to look for many drivers lately because I want to keep my team small. And they're averaging, anywhere from 500 to 600 properties a week. So for us, that right now, that's where we want to be. But before, I've had a lot of, I've posted on Craigslist before. There's high school and college kids that are looking for extra money. And then these are things that they can do on the weekend, right? So, I mean, I would say probably go after like a high school or college kid. A lot of people have mentioned before that I've heard people say use Uber drivers or Lyft drivers or delivery drivers and things such as that. I think that's hard when they're in the middle of doing a job to be driving around looking for distressed properties. You may get a handful from them, but you need somebody that's just 100% focused on the time that they're driving looking for distressed properties.
And you're paying them hourly or per deal?
Per property added to our platform.
Per property. Okay.
Yeah, per approved property. Put it that way. You got to make that clear.
Got
Per
it.
approved property.
You do pay your drivers more than me, I bet. So I pay mine $20 an hour, by the way. I have 4 drivers.
Yep.
They have to work 20 to 40 hours.
Mhm.
And I try to get them to work to add 12 properties per hour.
Yep.
But you said yours are adding like 40 sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's our main driver. He's figured the system out.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you have any trouble convincing him about how much he could earn at the beginning? That's the only challenge I hear when people, post a job for like $1 per properties, because people apply and they're like, what? I don't even know, how much I'd earn.
Absolutely. I have no problem convincing him because he's a numbers guy.
Okay.
He always tells me, and the problem is he tells everybody else too. He's like, man, dude, it's the easiest money I've ever made. So I get people coming to me all the time asking if they can drive, and I'm like, no, I mean, not right now. We're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Vaughn. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So is 7-figure flipping a secret group? How do you have to qualify to join, or how do you get to be a member?
There's different levels in it for sure. I don't you look it up. It's a pretty cool group. I just joined last year, and
Congrats.
I joined last year too. They have 2 different levels, and they have more of like an entry level, newer investor, and then they have a more seasoned investor. And I think the entry level I think it's once a year. They only let people in once a year. Is that
I
right,
think
Jesse?
so. That's correct.
Yeah. And then the higher level, the altitude group, I think it's by invitation, and it's limited by territory.
Cool. Thanks, Jesse. It's awesome meeting you tonight.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Oh, and next up, looks like we've got Nadia joining. Nadia, where are you calling in from? You there?
Unmute.
Hi.
Hi. I wasn't ready to start my video as well.
We can't see your video, but if you can't turn it on, that's fine. We can hear you.
Okay, great. As long as you can hear me. Yeah, so I did have a question regarding dealing with really difficult owners. I'm in a high price area. I'm in Brooklyn, and I seem to be coming across a lot of really savvy people that seem to want to get top dollar for what they have. And I just wondered how I would deal with that because the numbers have to work and they're not working for me. And I just wonder if you had any techniques of how I can find out their pain points with some of these owners.
Have you done any sales training or coaching?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, a lot of it comes down to the art of negotiation. And if you haven't read Chris Voss's book, you probably want to pick that one up. That's a really good one. But doing any type of sales training is good as far as figuring out the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying, right? What their motivation is, the timeline. And a lot of it is just building rapport and having quality conversations. And another thing I would say is if you consistently find yourself coming up with people with prices that are higher than they should be or higher than a wholesale price,
Mm-hmm.
You might want to look into creative financing.
Okay. So you're saying not to assign it, kind of to purchase it and like do a double close or something like that?
No, you can still assign a creative finance contract, but more so like right now we've bought properties for retail and they
Mhm.
still work for us because we're able to take them down on terms, meaning that we're buying a property where the seller is giving us financing or we're taking over the existing mortgage in place. So we're buying it sub 2 or a combination of those things. So just getting a little creative with how you buy the property and allowing them to get what they want and you get what you want as well. So one of the things I've been working on with my acquisitions guys is we always tell them that if they want cash, it's our price. If they're willing to give us terms, we can meet their price.
That is great advice. I really appreciate that. That is great advice. I also had another question if we have the time. You had mentioned that you do a couple of different methods and campaigns with DealMachine. By the way, David, at least really great adding the SMS. That's really a game changer. So I just wanted to know how many times do you do, let's say, postcards and the texting and cold calling? Like how many touches does it average for you to have to get a deal?
That's a good question. That's something that, because we're reaching out 3 different ways for the most part, haven't really narrowed it down as far as how many touches. That's a question that we're starting to ask when we get people on the phone, if we've been in touch with them before. In our CRM right now, we can tell, especially from an SMS or a cold call, if we've talked to that person before. But that's a really good question. As far as the postcards, we send out 250 new postcards per week minimum. And those 2 hot zip codes. So between our new postcards going out and then existing postcards that are on campaigns, I would say we're probably averaging 500 or 600 postcards a week going out, sometimes more.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate your answers. They're really helpful.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Bye, Nadia.
Okay, thank you.
We probably got time for probably 1 or 2 more questions. Thanks, Hannah. Looks like she's bringing Frank on. But yeah, I thought that was a question a lot of people have, that Nadia was asking, what do you do when the price is too high? I saw somebody in the chat say, that's the entire nation,
Exactly.
That was really good. You gave people the idea to get that book.
Yep. Never Split the Difference. I don't think I mentioned the name of the book, but it's by Chris Voss.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
He's posted it. Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
So yeah, I had a question to see, do you pick where your drivers go or do they kind of pick where they go?
Well, it started out that they kind of picked where they went based off of if we got a deal, I'll kind of lead them in the right direction. Now that we're very focused and very sure of where we're going and what we're trying to do and what our purpose is, we're able to narrow down the exact zip codes and neighborhoods that we want to target.
Okay.
So right now, it's more so I'll give them a zip code. And anybody can do this, right? You can go research cash sales in your county and the top zip codes that have the most cash sales, you can go into that zip code and get your drivers to drive. But we know for our area, if we're going to do an owner finance deal, so buy a property, fix it up, sell it on owner financing, there's only 2 real zip codes that are hot for that type of transaction. So we pretty much exhaust those areas.
Okay. And then I have one more question, if that's fine. When you first got on the gate, like first starting out, what kind of properties were you looking for? Just distressed properties, or were you just searching absentee properties? What were first starting out? What were you looking for?
Dude, I was just straight up distressed properties. Right.
Okay.
So starting with DealMachine, everything that they said on there, boarded up windows, gutter falling off, completely
Yeah.
overgrown, looked like it was vacant. And that's all we were targeting.
Okay.
So we wanted to get the worst house.
Okay, makes
It's
sense.
it's changed. It's changed over time, but we're still looking for that worst house. But
Yeah.
we wanted to expand that scope a lot more to be able to keep our acquisitions.
Especially
costs
now that you're doing owner finance and everything. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And do we have time for, we've got more minutes than I thought. Let's bring on a couple others. Hey, Vaughn, you said 2 zip codes qualify for your seller financing. What are you looking for in those 2 zip codes? Like how did you determine that?
Well, the zip codes that we're really focused on has a high Hispanic population. So in our area, a lot of Hispanics, they have cash, they can afford it, they pay the bills on time, all the time, but they have trouble getting a traditional mortgage.
Yeah.
So they're constantly
that makes sense. Yep.
I have a realtor friend of mine that has a phone full of over 50 people right now looking for owner finance deals. So I know, like, if I can find one, I've already got it sold.
That's amazing. Mem, are you there? Let's see, guys, if you have questions, you can go ahead and post it in the chat. Let's see. Hey, Ron.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm sorry.
How you doing?
Hanging in there.
Good. What was your question?
I'm just getting started. I contacted somebody who took a picture of my house, or actually it was my shop, and they talked me into being a driver for them. But I'm wondering, and I haven't actually been out to spend a lot of time driving. Some things have come up, but I'm wondering, like, what percentage of pictures do you take actually turn into deals, and where do you get the money from to do the deals? Do you have to be rich enough to have the cash to buy a place yourself, or is there some other way to get money to do the deal?
Lisa, can you post a wholesaling training? Oh, and I'll let Vaughn answer.
All right, Ron. So you don't have to have the cash. If you can get a property under contract, so you have that conversation with the seller, you build rapport, give them a price, and y'all agree on a price, you're able to get it under contract, and you can actually assign that contract to another investor or cash buyer. And basically, you want to make sure you find the right attorney or right title company, but they can get you set up on the contracts that you need. And when you go to closing, the actual person that you're assigning the contract to becomes the buyer. They're actually bringing the cash to the table. And the difference of what you have it under contract for and what you assign it to your buyer for is what you walk away from the closing table with.
Okay.
So for instance, if you get under contract for 30 and you assign your contract to another buyer for 40, you get a check for $10,000 when you leave closing.
Okay. I'm having a hard time imagining any kind of property being that cheap.
What market are you at in, Ron?
I'm in Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
So.
Tacoma, Washington is going to be a higher price market. Yep. So your wholesale fee is going to be larger. Your original purchase price is also going to be larger than in the Midwest or other markets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. good luck finding even a lot for 200,000 here. So
You can wholesale anywhere. It just takes more. You need to find more distressed houses in a higher price market. So you probably need to find 1,000 to 1,500 distressed homes. Whereas in the Midwest, you probably need to find like 300 to 500 distressed homes in order to get a deal. Of course, you need to reach out to all of them multiple times over, a couple of months. But those are the numbers on the napkin that I would put for Tacoma, Washington.
So somewhere between 300 to 500 and 1,500
If you're in Tacoma,
attempts in order to get one deal.
no, I would find about 1,000 to 1,500 rundown homes, and then I would do 3 attempts on each of them minimum over a few months.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And it looks like we got one more. Joshua, you there?
Hello, yes.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. Glad to be here. And I'm glad that you're here. What was your
Yes,
question?
me as well. Thank you. I just want to say thank you guys for doing this. And my question was, as a wholesaler, would you write the contracts yourself, or do you have to get like an attorney to write one or something?
We have an attorney approve ours. Most coaching programs out there, they'll give you a sample, purchase agreement, a sample assignment contract. You can probably find it online. You can probably find it in many Facebook groups. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that that is valid in your area. So you want to have it looked at by an attorney.
All right, thank you. And I had one more
We got a
question.
contract we can send your way. Lisa, you have the link to that by chance?
Are you just gonna put it in the chat? Or?
Yeah, I'll have her put it in the chat.
All right, thank you. And how do you decide on a titling company to bring your contracts to? Do you have to like go to them ahead of time and register with them and then do all that to bring your contracts with them to go to closing?
What market are you in, Joshua?
I'm in the Philadelphia area, Pennsylvania.
Do you have any real estate investor Facebook groups where you are?
I'm not sure. I have not looked.
Okay, so I would go look for real estate or investor specific Facebook groups in your area, and then ask a question on there, or just even go in the search bar in that group and just look for investor friendly attorneys or title companies and see who
Okay.
you're using. And then just go to that title company and they can even give you a contract. But just go introduce yourself and tell them what you're planning to do, and they'll be able to give you a lot of information.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys for doing this again.
A pleasure.
100%. That concludes our hour. Vaughn, you are the man. I appreciate you giving your time, which you normally reserve for your family after work hours. But tonight you gave it to all of us, and we really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Got to give back. That's what it's all about.
So before we transition into the software demo, would you, Hannah, do you have any final slides or anything that you want to show? Awesome. All right, so there is Vaughn's Instagram and Facebook. So REI Junkies, that's a group, I think, right?
My business.
Tell us about REI Junkies. I don't know if I've heard a lot about that.
So that's just my business name. We're addicted to real estate.
Okay. And is there anything that you're looking for specifically? Maybe if there's somebody from your market on this call that we should call out?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm all about collaboration over competition. So I'm willing to share the little that I do know. So I'm all about helping other people out, and especially in this, if you're in this area, reach out to me. Let's go have coffee, grab some lunch, come by my office. I'm an open book.
Love it. Well, everybody just let us share some love in the chat. Thank Vaughn. And Vaughn, you're certainly welcome. Yeah, that's right. Since we virtual, this is our virtual applause. We do the fingers in the camera. We're going to transition to the software demo. You're always welcome to join us, but totally get that you've got a family and other stuff to get to. So I'll leave the option open. But with that, just thanks again so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you, guys. I think I'm gonna jet out. I gotta go meet my family.
Sounds good.
Anybody that's on the call, reach out to me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Cool. Elise, you
Thank
did
you,
not do
Vaughn.
this demo with me?
Pleasure.
As always, David.
I like to hear that.
This, can I just say this group tonight is just so awesome. Great vibes as always, but like the chat's been really great and I appreciate the patience. I've been trying to get to everyone's questions and getting links. So thank you guys. Naz says, David, you are a flipping genius.
Thanks, Naz. I've been moving around a couple of windows during the call, and one thing I noticed was if I turn on dark mode in DealMachine, my face changes. Watch this. That's like, because it's so much easier on your eyes if you use DealMachine in that dark mode.
I know, but I will say it's not great for tutorials. I'm sorry to burst that bubble.
Okay, I'll do that.
But now everyone knows there's a dark mode, just so you know. So everyone, if you need a ring light, but you don't have one, just turn on DealMachine and have it there and don't have it on dark mode.
Okay, let me get into my account. Oops.
Elizabeth, we will, any links, we saved the whole chat. So Hannah's actually going to send out, or David, or one of us is going to send out a recap email. And so we'll make sure that you guys have everything.
Oh yeah. All right, Lise, could you kick us off?
I certainly can.
Thank you.
So a lot of people, I shared the link a couple times, but definitely sign up for our trainings on this. But this is your dashboard. This is where you set up your goals. Big, huge thing for this. This is the enterprise mode that David has up right now. So yours may look a little different, and that's okay. Go in there, set up how much you want to make, what's your why, really make a commitment there. And then we're going to help you through that, because below we'll show you, how many properties you're supposed to add that month, and how close are you to hitting it? How many mailers do you need to be having going out? How close are you to hitting that? We do have also like case studies here to give you inspiration when maybe you've heard like the 100th no from a postcard and you're like, is this going to work? I highly recommend checking out these videos to really grab inspiration and know that your hard work is going to pay off. I just did a podcast with someone an hour ago that we literally talked about that. You need to get inspiration because you have to stay motivated. I mean, David, the whole reason why you started this app was because you had a aw crap moment with seeing a house go up for sale that you missed out on.
Yeah, I lost out on that deal. That's absolutely right. And that was back in 2016.
And now look, started from the bottom, now we're here. So go through the whole onboarding process. We have the webinars here, which you all lovely people signed up for, which again, so excited. And then here's your analytics. This is where you need to be tracking your ROI. Also, once you win a deal, you get to do a success call and we get to talk one-on-one, and that makes me super happy. And then you can also check on your drivers. So David, I'd like you to kind of speak to that because you use this for your drivers since you pay them hourly.
Totally. Yeah, maybe let me pull up my scorecard. I always use that as my frame of reference.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
There we go. Yeah, so I've got 4 drivers myself: Anthony, Nate, Garcia, Martin, and then for Tarek, we've got Elena and Phil. And what we do is we track their hours and leads every week. Like I said, I pay $20 an hour, so the hour is really important. The leads are also important because I want them to add at least 12 an hour. So if they work 40 hours and added, 100 leads, that's not going to work for me. And in those cases, I'm going to color them red or yellow. So that's why you're seeing those yellow or red instances, because they didn't add the right number of leads. Then what I do And yeah, on this graph right here, you know, you can see the leads added in the last 4 weeks. That is probably the most important graph here. My drivers are adding the properties on the map. So let's come back to the drivers, but they all have their own version of DealMachine that's got the map. You know, they drive around and it's going to show me the green lines. It's show me exactly where they drove. As that route gets older, it's going to change colors. You know, if it's 6 months old, it's going to be yellow. If it's red, it's going to be 12 to 24 months old. And then after that, it's going to disappear. So that tells us when we need to go cover an area again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So should I go through adding the property on the map, Elise?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that'd be, so this is, David's going to give you basic, like you're getting in your car and you're starting to drive for dollars. Go.
Yep. So you're just looking around your house. You're just covering all the streets in your neighborhood. You're just looking for distress, anything that looks a little bit off. You know, if you're in a really nice neighborhood, maybe it's just that neighbor who hasn't trimmed their bushes in 3 months and it looks weird because the rest of the neighborhood's like perfect, you know? So you're looking for the house that looks a little bit worse than the rest of the neighborhood. Then what you do is you click the dot. This number is actually address number. And then over here, you add the lead, which I just did, but if I do it again, you'll see there's a button here that says add lead. And if you're on mobile, it looks like this, okay? Oops. Let's reload the map here on mobile version. So yeah, click the dot and then add the lead is down here now on the mobile version. Once it is added, the next thing I would do is take a photo of the house. If you, it's really important for 2 reasons. One, if you're gonna send mail, you want that real photo on your mail. The photo you take will be put on the mail that you send through DealMachine. 2, if it's a driver or somebody else adding the property, you want to spot check their deals and make sure they're adding the right types of properties. The only way to do that is if they're adding a photo. So you got to require them to take that photo. We do have the street pick, but I'll just tell you, it's not as good results on the mailers. It's up to a year out of date. So that's why it's really important to add that photo. Okay, and then, yeah, if you want to send mail, you can press start mailers. There's some more stuff you can do though. I have the auto skip trace feature on. We found 6 phone numbers. So, you know, what you could actually do is start a text message to that person. So that number was not going to be deliverable, but this one is. And so what I could do is throw in this, hey, are you the person to talk to about this address? And then that'll go out. And when they respond, I'll get a little push notification. But anyway, this is part of our SMS product. Not sure why that one didn't work. But anyway, you guys get the idea. And then there's some emails here too. You can preview your mail. Make that a little bigger. We're going to get into the mailers and how to set all that up. You can get some nice property information here too.
I'm looking at some of these questions. Difference between pin, crosshairs, and tap to add modes. Great question. So pin mode is what David just did. So you have to actually tap on the property and press add lead. Tap to add mode, I recommend this when I'm driving for dollars because all you do is just tap the property and it's automatically added into your list. And then crosshairs mode is actually just like literally a pair of crosshairs and you just slide them over the map. David can show you. And it's just to kind of do a quick scan of the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's only on the mobile version. I don't have the crosshairs mode on this.
Oh, right. But there's your tap to add. I would recommend like you sit in your car, you turn on your location tracking, you press start driving. I would change tap to add mode and then go. Actually, that's backwards now. If you're doing yes, free drive mode. That's what I meant to say. So you have to do free drive mode. If you're on professional or enterprise, you do have planned route mode, which we do have videos on, or we can talk more about that if you have questions about it.
Okay. Yeah, somebody asked how to do the mobile view. I'm just taking my browser and making it small. you know, if you're on your phone, it's going to look like that as well.
David, if there's no dot to add the property, I would try crosshairs mode to like see if you could pick up anything, but that usually means, and David,
There
correct
should
me
be
if
a
I'm
dot
wrong.
on every property.
Yeah. Even land should have a dot.
For sure. You may just need, you can see how like maybe sometimes I need to like move it to find the dot or to load the dot.
Ooh, Jeremy asked how you track if you're doing door hangers on foot on here. I would create a tag that says left door hanger, and then you can just tag it and you can then filter which properties you've left a door hanger on. But look at all that driving. Shoot. Oh, David, wait, go back. We forgot one of the most important features, which is highlights. How do your drivers know where to go?
Okay, good point. So let's pull up the highlights. If I wanted them to find all the vacant properties in my area, I could turn on this quick list called vacant properties. And then I want to find one for you so I can show you. There's one.
There we go.
Must be the rectory of the church next to the Psychic Science Spiritualist Center. Yeah, so this is a good way that you can find properties that meet your criteria. What I do to my drivers is I actually have this driver preset. And if you click it, you can apply the preset to drivers. And the way that it filters is by sale date and assessed value. So it shows them properties that were sold over 3 years ago and that are worth over $50,000. So that's how I tell them to avoid areas that are too cheap. Because believe it or not, here in Indianapolis, there's like houses that aren't worth anything. They're worth negative value. So I want to keep them in the positive. So that's why I set this filter. What else should we show them? If you have a weird preset name, you can always adjust it like this. Somebody's been in my account making weird preset names. Okay.
No, yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to show is the highlights.
Okay. So now here's my leads view, and there's a ton you can do here that you might not even see right away. The first thing is you could select some properties. You see I got 25, or I have like 41,000 in my system. So I could say like select all, and then, oh, I could text message all of them. You know, I'm not going to do that at this moment, but I can do a few to show you guys how that works. And again, this is part of that message engine for SMS that we offer. Okay, so yeah, just keep press sending, and it's going to send a bunch of messages. It's going to alternate what kind of message it's sending, and that's how it works.
Love it.
Okay, you can also start mailers. You could change the status of all these deals. And the statuses help you keep track of deals along the path to closing. So first deal that you add would be pending approval. It's a new lead that you need to qualify. With marketing means you're actively marketing to it. You know, the next set would be like you set the appointment, you send them an offer, you need to follow up, offer accepted, you know, you won the deal, you close the deal. Or of course, unfortunately, you might have lost deal, not interested, but this can help you stay organized.
Yep. And so you can add to lists, you can skip trace in bulk if you don't do automatic skip tracing. And this is also where you can export and you can customize mail. I use this a lot when I do the drop down for more, and I then change it for different campaigns once I go through each preset or filter that I do. So a lot of bulk actions that can be done through this. Also, if you're just getting started with us, I know someone asked earlier, you can add or import your leads list from another software or something like that to get it all in here so that they're all in the same marketing campaign. So that way you're not sending like multiple, you're just wasting money on so many mailers. And you can change all of this. Our developers have done a great job getting this to where you can choose which columns you want to see. You can adjust them to the, the distance you want them apart. So yeah, it's leads tab does a lot. And you can see these pictures bigger. I know we had a lot of them. People say they couldn't see the pictures of the house. So you can make them in a larger view to qualify them if that's what you want to go off of.
Yep. Thanks so much for that good summary, Elise. And I wanted to show off, like, this is some of the extra skip tracing data that we're now providing is, the caller ID of the number, who actually owns this number. And you can compare that to, oh yeah, the owner says Douglas. So Wagner Douglas, that's probably the right number. And you can tell Chris Copy, owner name, Margaret Copy. So that's also probably the right number. So you can like very quickly spot check which of these numbers are probably going to be the right ones that lead you to the right person.
Yeah, yeah.
Where should we go?
Right.
Oh, one more thing is you can import a list. If you have a spreadsheet, you can click import list up here and you can just import it right into DealMachine. There's not like a template that you'd have to use, but you just upload whatever you got and then you can map the fields to the right thing in DealMachine.
All right, moving on down. We're in Street Engine. So this is driving for dollars. And David, I'm sorry I jumped the gun earlier, but you can talk about how you do your drivers, track them in this.
Yeah, totally. So what I do is, like I said, I have 4 drivers and I will actually go to this view. That's my preference. And I will say added by Martin. And then date added within the last 7 days. And then every week, I get this number and it happens to be 439 right now. So for Martin, what I would do is I would put, 439. Then I'd spot check some of these photos and I can do that like this. Oops. So, okay, yeah, see like this, the paint here is kind of peeling on the siding on these. That's good. I do this in real time and I'd tell Martin that this one's sideways. Man, come on, get it straight, the feedback. This one's a little crooked too. Martin, slow down a little bit. I pay you by the hour, not by the property. So just take the extra minute to get that photo straight because it's going to be on the mail and I want it to look good. So that's what I do weekly with my drivers, and then I send them the payment. And then I go into the driving tab and I figure out, well, how many hours did he actually drive? It doesn't match up with what he is saying. So let me find Martin again under the M's. Where are we at? There we go. Martin White. Let's do custom. Oops. Okay. 131 miles, 43 hours. That's pretty believable. I mean, I tell him I want him to drive 40 hours, so it looks like he nailed it. Did a couple extra. So that's it. I enter it in the scorecard. I spot check their leads, and then I send him a payment. And then he adds more properties the next week, and we keep going.
And you use Venmo for their payment, right?
No, I upgraded. So, I mean, I always start out with Venmo because it's just fast, simple, and easy. But now I use actual payroll software because if you pay someone over $600, you got to file a bunch of taxes and stuff. And these payroll softwares like Gusto, they will file all that for you. So you definitely want to move that route if you're going to go over 600 a year, actually, technically.
Good point to make there. And you, how did you recruit these drivers, David?
Okay, well, glad you asked, because we have this tab called drivers and this button called recruit drivers. The drivers are contractors. Elise can post that link to that contract. I think it's dealmachine.com/driver-contract. Yeah. But anyway,
and it won't be an act, just so everyone knows, it'll download, auto download. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just an auto download.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, so I can actually have a landing page, and the landing page will allow me to like have drivers self sign up for my team. So, you know, I'll post a job on Indeed, sign up here, add 20 properties, and then message me. And then I'll go look and give them feedback on their properties, pay them $20, and then like do the interview. But I don't really do interviews unless they like do that test project first. And this landing page makes it easy because you can also include training videos on the landing page that they can go through and watch. So I don't have to teach them anything. Does that make sense?
Yes. And just so everyone knows, I know this is a lot, but David actually was so great and did an entire video from start to finish on how he recruited his drivers. I mean, down to like using DocuSign. So definitely Hannah can post that in the chat.
Oh yeah. All right. We got some people asking for some links. So there's an Indeed ad. Boom. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, David remembers links so well. Burr Boot Camp, yes.
All right. All right. You want to talk about List Engine?
Yeah, so List Engine is our list building. But also, even if you don't have List Engine, this is where you can check in on all of your lists that you make organically, and check to see the status and check the ROI and KPIs on those. But to build a list, it's very, very simple. You can go from zip code or city or draw over a certain area. So once you do that, you'll be able to go through, and basically what's really great is we've made it so that it's very familiar. So our filtering is basically the same as our list or leads tab. So you can do just vacant. It'll tell you an estimation below, and you can get as specific as you want. You can change the name of this. And then my favorite part of it is the smart list. So the smart list, once you toggle that on, anything that does or does not fit the criteria you want in this list will be either taken out or brought in every week. It is updated every week. And you can sync the marketing that you're doing to this smart list to go ahead and start. And it'll go to your default mail settings that will be applied to this. And that's found in your settings.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very simple. And then messages. Go ahead, David. You kind of already went through some of it, but.
Yeah. Well, this is the format that you can view and respond to messages that you send out through the platform. So these all just got sent out, and as soon as they reply, I would be able to talk to them. Mildred replied.
Okay.
Yeah. You got anything else that you want to say about Message Engine?
Great training that goes along with this, you guys. So I know we posted the link a couple times, but a great training to go through everything. So all the questions that you're having, Dakota is the man. He will get them all answered. He is our trainer, one of our trainers. So I just highly recommend checking it out. And also we have a quick start guide on it too, if you want to just have a quick preview outside of this, but it's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, throw in the HTTPS in there. So it's
crap. I forgot that on mine.
okay.
All right, then
mail. Yeah, go
mails. Yeah, so templates. So we have, people were asking what they look like. We have a bunch of different templates you can choose from. You can customize them down from the wording, the colors on them. And someone asked if mail will go out if you don't have a picture. You can upload your own picture now to go on this instead of the house picture, if that is what you would like. So you literally just customize this. We have so many different kinds. But very, very simple. You can clone them. So if you do have our campaigns feature, which we'll get to next, you can just clone templates and then just tweak them how you would like to see fit. So this is very, very simple. We have the smart, what do I want to call them? Where you can put like their first name, you can make it very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yep, that's where you would add the picture. So then we go to our campaigns. And campaigns is an add-on feature, but if you're planning on doing marketing heavily, I think this is a great investment for you, because the difference is with the repeat mail, you still can do that on basic without campaigns, but it's the same piece of marketing going over and over and over again. Campaigns, as David is showing, you can do different steps and add different postcards and can customize the time that they're released. So you could do 21, 30, 90, 60, it just makes it more customizable. So that way it's catching their attention. So maybe the first one doesn't, but the next one you do a little something different and that one does. So I think it's a great investment, again, if you are really focused on marketing. And then the last thing is signatures. So if you are asking, how do I change my return address or your phone number? This is where you go. You don't go into the profile settings. This is where you would go. You can upload a photo or a logo. Highly recommend either, or you could choose both. If you're on enterprise, you get multiple signatures. You could try both out. And this is where you would just put all your information. If you're a real estate agent, which I saw earlier, someone was asking about that, you can put your MLS and disclosure at the bottom. We have a space for that. Definitely talk to your broker about you investing. That's what the common trend has been that I've heard, just to make sure that they're okay with you investing. So that's that. If you go down to more, you have your team, which goes by engines.
Oops. You can also recruit drivers again. There's another spot. Yeah, so once you have somebody, you can give them a lot of permissions or no permissions. So a deal finder is somebody that can see only their deals, can't see anyone else's. Partner can see other properties people are adding to your system, and then you have all these options you can give them access to do. And then the access is like, hey, if you have the street engine, the list engine, or the message engine for SMS, you can grant them access to each one of those parts of DealMachine as well.
Yep. Moving on. Get free leads, my favorite. And I feel like so many people don't realize this. If you have friends that want to try out DealMachine, you get money, they get money. This is your own personal promo code. Send it away. You can copy the invite and it literally takes them to the website. It's filled in with your promo code. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
That's right. All right. So next we have settings. A lot of stuff in settings.
This is where you can just update everything for your account. Again, if you change your phone number on that, it will not reflect on your mail. And then you can also see the engines that you have and the add-ons. So that way you can see how much you're spending, like how much you've had. I know someone said they capped out their street engine. So this is where you see that. Your CRM, any of the add-ons, any billing, that's where it's going to be. And then going on. Real-time driving routes, by the way, is not an add-on anymore, but David is an OG, so he has it on there. But you can get real-time driving routes by being on professional or enterprise. So then going back into settings, we have default mailing options. This is what I was talking about, where you can also set up just repeat the same postcard over and over again, or you can put this as a campaign. So this is where you would set up what would default to every lead, but you can still change it with those bulk actions David was showing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Property tags, we were talking about door hangings. This is where you can also put that in here. You can create, you can hide certain ones. Look at all the ones that David's made. You can add for like priority one, however you want to customize and organize your system. That's where you can do it. Badges are really fun. Promo codes, if you forgot to put a promo code in there. I love our badges. Stop sending, automatically send mailers. You saw dark mode. automatically sending mailers, I would err on the side of not doing that, only because especially if you're on a budget, making sure that you're staying within your budget, and they will automatically go out even if you accidentally put a property in. So I would just err on the side of not doing that. But then here on the open page on App Start, if you are like me and you're on the go, I have mine on map, only because when I open my mobile, it's usually when I'm seeing a property and I want to pin it really fast. So you can change that here, or you can do it to your dashboards, I believe your leads, or list. And there's another place you can import as well right here. Ooh, what's that? I haven't seen that yet. Okay, there's your invoices.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Oh, and then you guys, more below that, even more, there's a request feature. Go vote, add anything you think that there should be added to DealMachine. We listen, we hear you guys out. We've added a lot that you guys have suggested. And then the last thing is just the help and support, which is, we're biased, but amazing. We love our help and support. We respond under 5 minutes. We are from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we would love to take care of you guys. And this is where, if you have any technical questions, definitely go to. We also have a knowledge base that you can look for articles. David's going to send them a cute little GIF. That's going to wake somebody up.
Okay.
I couldn't find an answer to that. All right. And that's the basics. Galaxy, yes, this webinar will be posted tomorrow, you guys, so you will be able to rewatch it. I usually try to timestamp them too for specific parts that are being played. So if you want to see this demo again, I'll make sure that's timestamped in the descriptions on the YouTube channel. Yeah. That's all I got for you. I'm really excited. Thanks for joining us for the demo, guys. I hope this helped. David, any last word? Sounds like I'm gonna end your life. So
our man David Collier's asking some good questions. So he asked if there are custom fields, and actually the one thing I didn't see was request a feature. That get taken away. There it is. We normally have a pit stop over here, and if you guys have additional features, I know we are going to work on custom fields, David, but that was just a good example that you could add those here. And we will prioritize working on stuff that you guys request.
Yep. You're welcome, Paul. Thanks. Thanks you guys for joining. Really appreciate you all.
I hope this was helpful for everyone. And if you want to join the next one, check out your dashboard and sign up, or watch our social media channels and look for the links there.
Oh, also, just so you guys know, we are on Clubhouse now. So if a lot of you are on Clubhouse, we're on Clubhouse now. David's actually going to be in Clubhouse next week answering questions. Really excited about that. So definitely connect with us. It's just at DealMachine, and we'd love to actually get to talk to you guys and join the trainings as well, because those are also really great. But thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
See ya.